is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
It's another gorgeous sun-splashed day in Arizona for spring training baseball. Today, the Cleveland Indians hit the road to Salt River Fields at Talking Stick as they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Less than 2 weeks to go now till opening day, and those final position battles on the roster are coming down to the wire. And, Rick, we're going to get a close look at one of those battles today. The fifth spot in the starting rotation comes down to left-hander Scott Kazmir and right-hander Carlos Carrasco, who will start for the Indians this afternoon.
Well, Carlos celebrating his 26th birthday today, and maybe two strikes against Carlos. That, remember, he has to serve a 6-game suspension when he comes back, and also this year he'll probably have an innings threshold that he can't pitch over. But he missed all of last year, did a lot of rehabbing out here in Arizona. But you remember the 2011 season, he was 8-9. He, in the month of June of 2011, had 6 really good starts, had an ERA of under 2. So he showed he could pitch at the big leagues. But now, will he be healthy enough to come back and do it again all year long?
The Indians informed Corey Kluber and Trevor Bauer this morning they would not make the roster, so they've both been sent down to AAA. Now, there are also some battles going on for that final spot or two in the Indians' bullpen. A lot of this depends on who makes the club as far as the position players are concerned, because that may depend, Rick, on whether or not they go with 12 pitchers or 13.
Well, if they go with 13, then there's going to be one guy out of this rotation right here, and that's assuming that you have Perez and you have Smith and you have Pastano as the 3 that are automatically going to make it. Now, if they go with 12, 2 guys are going to have to be left out, but you figure Albers and Shaw are going to be in. They came over from the Diamondbacks. We'll have to wait and see. Like you said, there's less than 2 weeks to go, one more week about spring training, so we will get ready, and it's coming down to the final spots.
Cody Allen scheduled to pitch on that list here today as well, and as you said, Rick, coming down the stretch, all Terry Francona wants is to get through these games healthy and get everybody on board as we get ready to start the regular season. We're back with the first pitch and all the play-by-play action from Salt River Fields at Talking Stick in Scottsdale, Arizona, when we continue. Our game time temperature this afternoon will be 81 degrees. Barely a whisper of a breeze. Just another perfect day for baseball here in Paradise Valley. The umpires making their way toward home plate, and we'll be getting underway here shortly as Ian Kennedy will start today for the Arizona Diamondbacks, scheduled to be their opening day starter. And as we mentioned in our open, the final battles of the spring coming down to the wire. Carlos Carrasco still in contention for that 5th spot on the Indians starting rotation, and he'll get a start here this afternoon. You see Asdrubal Cabrera on the bench there for the Indians. Carlos Santana and Mike Aviles are both back with the club from the WBC, and we expect to see both of those guys back in the lineup tomorrow. And a reminder, tomorrow we'll have a night baseball here from Arizona. We'll have the Indians playing the Arizona Diamondbacks over in Goodyear, and that'll be a night game.
Yeah, that's right. Get used to it. It'll be a 10 o'clock start. We're going to get the fans back in Cleveland an opportunity to get.
Speaking of the WBC, Carlos Santana and the Dominican Republic winning the championship in the WBC. Santana did a nice job. He caught a lot of innings. Terry Francona has no concerns about Santana being ready to play because he was behind the plate for all of those meaningful games and innings, piloting the pitching staff to the WBC championship. He says now it's just a case of getting Santana with the starters on this staff, going through all the signs because all of their plays run through the catcher. Just make sure everybody's on the same page. He said they've got a week to do that. They'll be fine. I think we lost your mic, pal. He's talking, believe it or not, but nothing's coming through his microphone. I heard a loud piercing noise, like a tone that went off, and apparently that tone signifies that your mic has been cut off for good. Want to try that other headset? See if that one works. That one's working. I can hear it. Oh, he's going to be back, folks.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That's the best broadcast I've ever had with the first 5 minutes of this one. I'm almost hoarse. I was talking so much I couldn't hear myself. Holy smokes.
Spring training for us, too.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Not a way to start.
Well, you know, it's rare. I can't remember ever doing a road spring training telecast.
We haven't out here, not in Arizona. This is a first for us. So it's a beautiful facility out here in Scottsdale. They share it with the Colorado Rockies, and looking forward to it. Great facility.
These were the last 2 teams that were in Tucson, right?
Yes, that's correct. They went down there. The Chicago White Sox, they went out to Glendale. These 2 teams came here.
And so the Diamondbacks take the field to get us underway here this afternoon behind Ian Kennedy. He's only pitched in 2 big league spring training games this year. A number of his starts have come in what they refer to as B games or minor league games. Terry Francona's starting lineup today features Michael Bourne leading it off, followed by Asdrubal Cabrera. And then Lonnie Chisenhall bats third. Nick Swisher in the cleanup spot. Michael Brantley will hit 5th. Then Mark Reynolds gets the start at first, hitting 6th. Ryan Rayburn at second base bats 7th. Omir Santos will catch and hit 8th. And Carlos Carrasco, the pitcher, will bat 9th.
Well, their number 1 starter, Ian Kennedy, 28 years old, 6 foot, 190 pounds. Was 15-12 last year with an ERA of just over 4. Pitched 208 innings, a career high 33 starts. Had 187 strikeouts for the D-backs. So he will be, getting it geared up because they open up April 1st against the St. Louis Cardinals right here in the desert. So he will be on the mound when that comes about. But, he had almost a Cy Young year in 2011. But let's set that defense behind Kennedy today. It looks like this. Prado is in left, Eaton in center, Kubel is in right. Chavez at third, Bloomquist is at short. Hill is at second, Hensky is at first with Montero behind the plate.
And the umpires, Mike Everett will be calling the balls and strikes. Seth Buckminster, Adam Hamari, and Jim Wolf on the bases. It's been an eventful few days for the umpires. Go back to our last telecast from the home plate umpire, a young man making his first big league umpiring appearance. Got conked on the head on the swing by Mark Reynolds, knocked him out of the game, and then the next day had an umpire get his hand broken in a game involving the Milwaukee Brewers.
And the umpire ended up going behind the pitcher's mound, didn't he?
Yeah, Tim McClellan went behind the mound and called strikes until the one of the other guys could get the gear on. Ian Kennedy winds, and we're underway as Michael Bourne swings and misses at the first pitch. Bourne hitting .220 so far on the spring. See what he did a year ago in Atlanta with 42 stolen bases. Reaches out, pokes it foul, out of play, nothing into the count.
Kennedy, a guy that's not overpowering. He changes speeds very well, but his control, he's able to pitch inside and still get hitters out. Good changeup, 4-pitch mix.
Up high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Michael Bourne grew up in Texas. How about this? His dad coached him when he was a youngster, and one of his teammates was Carl Crawford. Probably weren't too many youth baseball teams that could match those two guys in speed, though. Now the 2-2. Tapper to second base. Routine play for Aaron Hill. And we've got one out here in the top of the first.
You may see a few ground balls with Kennedy on the mound. He takes off and adds. That was a little change up there that he was able to get Bourne to roll over on.
Asdrubal Cabrera, a .296 hitter on the spring, with a homer and 7 runs batted in. Cabrera appears to be in tip-top shape and ready to start the season. And other than a few of the typical bumps and bruises, most of the position players are ready to start for the year.
You know what? It comes down to it. Now, as we talked to Terry Francona a few days ago, they're ready to roll. Good changeup again.
The strikeout, and there are 2 down here in the inning.
After he throws the breaking ball inside to Cabrera, he didn't waste any time. Now goes down and away with a good changeup. Like I said, he adds and subtracts, and he's got very good control.
Here now is Lonnie Chisenhall. Boy, what a spring he has had. Takes a look at a ball down low. Lonnie has hit .410 with 4 home runs, a dozen runs batted in, and 4 doubles.
Yeah, you want to see Lonnie stay healthy this year because he has some pop in his bat. He's an excellent low ball hitter with very good bat speed. He's an aggressive hitter. That's why in spring training, when pitchers try to get ahead of him with a fastball, he is ready for it. But you remember, he broke the arm hit on the forearm.
2 balls and a strike.
Back in Baltimore.
Cost him a little more than 2 months. Right back to the screen to even the count. And for Lonnie Chisenhall, be the primary third baseman, but you've also got Mark Reynolds on the roster, who's in the lineup today, batting 6th and playing first base, but he can give him a breather every now and again.
As well as Mike Aviles.
Fouled right back.
Yeah, I think if they had to face Kennedy on a regular basis, you'd almost sort of sit off speed and just try and protect with the fastball. If you try to get the bat head out on his fastball, he may carve you up. He'll have you out on your front foot a lot. So you concentrate on hitting the fastball the other way. That's
there it is, and a perfect approach by Lonnie Chisenhall, as if you were piped into his headset right there.
Does he have the little dot on the back of that helmet? He heard it. That was an off-speed pitch, so that was a terrific at-bat where he kept his weight back, his hands back. A breaking ball might have been up a little bit, But that's really a good at-bat for Chisenhall.
That will bring up Nick Swisher.
Go, Swish!
Swisher is a switch hitter. Batting .432 on the spring. 3 homers, 11 runs batted in. Chisenhall at first with 2 down. Kennedy's pitch lined to right field, a base hit. Lonnie around second, hits for third. Kubal's throw is not going to be nearly in time. Missed the cutoff man on a short hop. And so aggressive base running by Chisenhall as he goes first to third. And with 2 down, it'll bring up Michael Brantley.
Now that's another thing you can do in spring training. Swisher hit that ball right on the nose, and Chisenhall didn't wait. Normally, if the outfielder's arms were in midseason form, you'd probably hold up there at second base because you are in scoring position. But he kept right on going, and Kubal, you know, not a good throwing arm. He gets it in. But Chisenhall able to get to third base. So with 2 outs, the Indians start to rally.
And Michael Brantley will have an opportunity to get the Indians on the board first here today. In the dirt, and a good block by Montero.
That's what you look for too with 2 outs. If you're Swisher on first base, that ball in the dirt right there where you can try and get yourself in scoring position. Montero did a great job of picking it.
Throws to third. And Chisenhall is back safely. Now this year you're not allowed to fake the throw to third.
You know, this is the old Steve Busby play where he had the best move ever that used when he pitched with the Kansas City Royals, and that's a timing play that I'm sure all pitchers are working on this year in spring training, because you can't fake it and throw to first, which I like.
Down and in.
We saw it work a couple times, but it rarely works.
Good count for Brantley here. And it's in the dirt. Michael's such a good, patient hitter.
Right. He was, you know, he's going to make him work and get in the zone. He's got the good approach because he takes every at bat like he tries to take it up the middle the other way. He doesn't try, you know, to cheat on the fastball and get it out front. So he should have a good look at him.
Brantley lets it fly. Deep right field. Kubal looking up. Goodbye. Michael Brantley with a 2-out, 3-run homer here in the first inning. And the Indians draw first blood.
How about the 3-0 green light for Brantley? And I mean, he got a fastball and he knew what to do with it into right center field. A beautiful swing. So the Indians with a little 2-out lightning.
Chisenhall started it with a 2-out opposite field base hit. Swisher followed with a single, and Brantley brings them both home with a 3-0 laser shot over the 390 mark.
Look at
in
that.
Right field.
He tried to throw that high fastball by him. Michael was waiting for it, turned on it.
Now Mark Reynolds fouls one straight back.
And his first homer of the spring.
Called a strike. It's 0-2 on Mark Reynolds. Brantley came out of the chute swinging a hot bat this spring. Missed a little time when he was inadvertently spiked. Had to get some stitches for that. Reynolds strikes out and the inning is over. But Michael Brantley's 2-out, 3-run homer has the Indians on top 3-0. And the Diamondbacks will be coming to bat for the third. The Indians with a 3-0 lead as the Diamondbacks come to bat here in the bottom of the first. And let's have a look at Kirk Gibson's starting 9 today. Adam Eaton will lead it off, followed by Martin Prado and then Eric Chavez. Aaron Hill, Miguel Montero, and Eric Hinsky occupy the middle third. And then it's Jason Kubel, Willie Bloomquist, and the pitcher Ian Kennedy.
Carlos Carrasco on the mound this afternoon. He's making his fourth start, 5th game. And you'll see 13 innings. He's given up 14 hits, 10 strikeouts, only 4 walks. So this is a year where it's going to take him a little bit to get the command, some velocity back, and something that a lot of pitchers have gone through with the Tommy John surgery. But he has worked very hard in the last year to get back.
1 ball, 1 strike. Adam Eaton having a fine spring, hitting .375, couple of homers, 10 runs driven in. Call to strike inside corner. Cody Ross, it doesn't look like he'll be ready to start the year.
No, he has some leg issues. You're right. They signed him to a new 3-year deal.
You got him running in one of those zero gravity harness suits, but still can't put any weight on that injured leg.
Well, they do have an excessive outfielder. That's one reason why Upton was traded. And then they went out and signed Ross. But this is the young man they want to come up and see him play in center field. The guy, smaller guy, but he can run. Gets on base and makes things happen.
Drives this one to right field. Nick Swisher's there to grab it. And we've got 1 out.
Let's set that Indians defense now that we have an opportunity. In the outfield from left to right, it's going to be Brantley, Bourne, and Swisher. On the infield from third to first, it'll be Chisenhall, Cabrera, Rayburn, and Reynolds. Mir Santos behind the plate doing the catching this afternoon. And you mentioned Carlos Santana will be back tomorrow, will be in the lineup for tomorrow night's game against the Diamondbacks as well.
Martin Prado taking a strike. Last year with the Braves, Prado had a fantastic season, batting .301. Jam bounces it to third. Monty Chisenhall guns it over, 2 away. That's going to bring up Eric Chavez, who for so many years we saw starring at third base for the Oakland Athletics. Last couple of years in the Bronx with New York.
Well, they tried to bolster their bench. Kevin Towers, the general manager here, went out. They signed Eric Chavez to play a little third base and give him some left-handed bat. Also Eric Hinsky, who has been around. So they went to protect themselves with depth this year. You know, for guys coming off the bench in the National League, they use them a lot more than they do in the American League. You know, they went out and signed in the trade Martin Prado for Upton coming over from Atlanta. He can play third base, the outfield.
Yeah.
If you want to put Chavez in there against a tough right-hander, that's why Prado goes out to left field.
Chavez taking it the other way. Brantley tries to cut it off, and he will. And he'll hold him to a long single, and that's where that good speed will benefit the Indians all season long in the outfield.
Yeah, you're right. Cutting doubles off, especially with 2 outs here. A situation where Brantley going over with the glove on, going to the line. He's able to cut it off and hold Chavez to a single. He'll plant, have to turn around and throw, but a nice job of cutting that ball off.
So like the Indians in the top half of the first, Arizona will try to scratch out some runs the hard way, doing it with 2 outs. Aaron Hill hitting .405 on the spring.
Boy, what a year he had last year. You look at the numbers, and also hit for the cycle within what, 2 weeks? 2 times he hit for the cycle.
And he drives this one to right center field in the gap. It'll go all the way to the wall. Coming around third is Eric Chavez. He'll be waved home by Matt Williams. Here's the throw to the plate, not in time. And so a 2-out RBI double for Aaron Hill. It's Arizona on the board, and the Indians lead is 3-1.
Yeah, plug the gap. This ball was up, elevated by Carrasco, and Hill just takes it the other way and finds the gap in right center field. There you'll see it, fastball up, belt high out over the plate. And he plugs the gap, and I'm sure it's because Swisher's in right today. He gets a start in right field. They're going to see him run a little bit.
Well, Aaron Hill had a career high 76 extra base hits last year in his first year with the Diamondbacks, so they'd love to see more of that. Here now, Miguel Montero. Pitch outside for ball one. Montero, very good defensively, but also a threat with the bat. You see 286 average with 88 driven in a season ago.
I think really, when you talk about National League catchers, an underrated guy. Because, you know, you talk about Molina in St. Louis and Posey out in San Francisco. You know, they get a lot of the recognition and publicity, and rightfully so. But this young man, he's put together some pretty good numbers.
I'd have to say he's probably the next guy on that list that you just rattled off.
Well,
you
know, when you think about it, it's just that he plays out here and he doesn't get the recognition or the, you know, publicity. But he's solid, both defensively and offensively. You're probably right. I got to start thinking that we're going through the National League now, but
right back to the screen. 2-1 to count. Omir Santos goes out to chat with Carlos Carrasco, who, like his counterpart Ian Kennedy, had 2 outs and the bases empty before he allowed the base hit by Eric Chavez and then the 2-out ringing double by Aaron Hill. Down and in. 3 balls and a strike. Eric Hinsky would be next. Boy, Montero had a big cut. Unable to square it.
looked like the bottom hand came off of the bat. Watch and see if it slips. He had a good cut, and you can see that one hand slipped off the bat. I think he was trying to leave the ballpark, leave the premises.
High pop, shallow left. Brantley is in. He makes the catch and the side is retired. The Diamondbacks get on the board with a run on 2 hits, 1 man left after an inning. It's Cleveland 3, Arizona 1. All right, we move now to the second inning with the Indians on top 3-1. Bottom third of the Tribe order coming up here. Ryan Rayburn, Omir Santos, and we'll see the pitcher Carlos Carrasco bat as well. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you here at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale, Arizona. Let's go down to the Indians dugout where Joe Smith, I believe, is hooked up and ready to go. Joe, how are you?
All right, guys, what's going on?
Not much, Joe. What's happening?
Just hanging out. Beautiful day here. Packed stadium. It's beautiful out here.
This is a nice complex, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Joe, how's the spring going for you? I know you had a little bit of a setback with the strained oblique at one point.
Yeah. It was just it came in kind of sore with it. You know, it definitely wasn't as bad as 2011.
Ryan Rayburn ropes one all the way to the fence. He's headed for extra bases, and that right there is exactly what we just talked about, where Michael Brantley was able to get over and cut that ball off, holds him to a single. Here Rayburn ropes it. He goes for a double, and pitchers got to love the fact that you're going to have some speed. So when you do make that rare mistake, Joe, they're going to be able to keep that to a single instead of extra bases.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, we especially noticed it with Drew Stubbs out in right field early, too. I think one of the first games where the ball hit down the line, and just watching him cut it off before it got to the corner, it was almost always a triple, and it ended up being a single. So, you know, Warney out there and Brantley in left, Stubby in right, there's not going to be many balls that get to that wall.
That's a good thing, because anytime you can keep a double play in order, do it.
Oh, yeah.
Indians brought their hitting shoes today. Omir Santos lines a double over the head of Jason Kubel in right field. That brings home Rayburn, and it's 4-1 Cleveland.
We're going to swing a little bit this year, guys. I got a pretty good feeling. I mean, I'm hearing Lonnie Chisenhall. I don't know where Lonnie Chisenhall's going to hit in our lineup, but I mean, that guy can swing it, and he's having a heck of a spring.
You know, I hope he stays healthy, because he has some thump in that bat. And I'll tell you, the approach going here today against Ian Kennedy, I like, with an off-speed guy. He takes something off and adds a little on. They're going the other way and staying on the baseball very well early.
Yeah, it's nice. Anytime you get a lead early, I mean, that just raises our confidence down there.
Carlos Carrasco probably under the orders of do not swing.
I got those orders. I'm trying to work out something where I can get a bat. I can give Tito a little something. Let me take a couple hacks.
Give him a little Toki, a nice drag bunt down the third baseline and beat it out, man.
I'm gonna pull a hammy if I try that.
Then don't do it. Well, that's true. A lot of times, I remember when Wedge was the manager here, they said, hey, the pitchers don't swing. Just take it. Yeah. They don't want them to swing and hurt themselves playing under National League rules, but there it is. Take three, have a seat. Why don't you just say one out, next, move on? Why even waste the pitches?
Exactly. And you know, I think back to that game in Cincinnati, I think it was 3 years ago when Fausto remember he hit the ground ball, and he 3/4 of the way down the line, it looked like he blew a tire.
he did. The Clydesdale blew out, man.
That was awesome. Well, wasn't it just the other day, wasn't it the Diamondbacks and the Reds that they wouldn't I think the Diamondbacks wouldn't allow a DH?
Yes.
Dusty wasn't too happy about that, but
they came here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Cincinnati came here to play, and Dusty wanted the DH Chew.
Yeah, I guess Gibby doesn't really like that.
And Gibby says, no, we're playing by National League rules, which, they're in their park. Even though a National League team can let the pitcher hit, they made the pitcher hit, and I think they were a little upset.
Yeah. I mean, it's spring training. Nobody wants to get anybody hurt, especially, we haven't taken any swings at all, so there's no sense. And you know how pitchers get when they get up there. We're hacking. We're not trying to stay inside it. And just,
best athletes in the world, right? We're just going to ask you.
Just ask us. We'll tell you.
Hey, speaking of the athletes and talking about the bullpen, it's been a very good bullpen, and yet the makeup has changed a little bit this year. And maybe a couple of new guys give it a little bit of a different dynamic. What's your scouting report from the inside view?
We're going to be better. We're going to have a strong bullpen. I feel very confident. Cody Allen, obviously what he did last year, coming up as fast as he did and having success at the big league level. I think that was huge for him, especially having success early. Looks great again in camp this year. We're excited to have him in there. I haven't heard exactly who our pen's going to be, but I got a feeling from the choices that we got, it's going to be deep, and we're excited about it.
It's a matter if they want to keep, 6 guys, or 7 guys or 8 guys. If they go with the 12 or the 13 pitchers on the staff.
Yeah, I don't I don't know. We'll see. But I feel very confident. If we get that starter through 6 with the lead, we're looking at a lot of W's.
I'm thinking, and we're going to have Mickey Callaway on in another inning or so we'll have a chance to ask him. But I think early this year, because as Bourne gets his job done, move the runner over. Oh, there is one out. Almost beat it out. But we start the game with the year with 13 straight games without an off day. So you may need a long man coming out of that bullpen.
Yeah, we might. I mean, I don't even know if we have 7 of us. There's probably going to be a long man mixed in. I mean, there usually is. I don't know. Sometimes we'll carry an extra guy, like you guys said. So we'll just kind of see how it goes out. Hopefully, we don't need a long guy. I mean, hopefully our starters come out of the gate. We're looking for Masterson, Ubaldo to have great bounce back years. Brett Myers, another 200 inning guy. And, Z-Mac, his first shot for a full year up here, threw the ball really well last year. And then, have you guys heard who the 5th spot is? I haven't heard.
It's according to Terry Francona earlier today, it's down to Carlos Carrasco and Scott Kazmir. Those are the last 2 standing after they sent out Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber this morning.
Well, I know, seeing what Carrasco did before he hurt his elbow. I mean, if that guy comes back healthy, he's got unbelievable stuff. And, knowing Scott Kazmir has been around and seeing what he can do from the left side, I mean, if either one of those guys are throwing the ball good, that's a pretty good number 5.
For you guys, for the bullpen's sake, it's nice if the starters can go out there and give them 6 innings.
Oh,
I mean, you've had 72 appearances the last couple of years. Obviously, if we get an opportunities, you're going to have that again, and hopefully that can continue with the lead.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like I said, man, if we can get the 6th inning with the lead, I obviously love the additions we had, and to our offense and our starting pitching. I think we only got better this offseason, so it's going to be a fun year.
Joe, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, take it easy.
That's Joe Smith. The Indians add a run, middle of the second, 4-1 Cleveland. (4-1) Indians on top, bottom of the second inning. A gorgeous day here in Arizona. Carlos Carrasco facing Eric Hinsky, bounces it just over the bag fair. Reynolds takes it himself 1-0.
Well, you can join us for all the excitement at Progressive Field with the 2013 season ticket package. Tickets give you access to the best seats at the lowest prices, and with a full season package, you are guaranteed to be there opening day. That'll be April 8th against the Yankees. So log on to Indians.com for more information.
Jason Kubel.
There's a guy with a pretty strong bat that's hitting 7th in their lineup. Remember Kubel with the Minnesota Twins, who signed a free agent contract with the D-backs last year. Spent his first year here. Got off to a good start. Wasn't happy with the way his second half went, but still hit 30 home runs and drove in 90 RBIs. So that's a pretty solid year.
The big question surrounding Kubel when he signed with Arizona is that he was used in the DH role a lot in Minnesota. So could he play every day in the outfield? Would he be a liability? And I think he's certainly held his own.
Well, if you're playing in the National League, you gotta carry the leather with you. No DH. You may get a chance to pinch hit every now and then, but one at bat doesn't, cut it. He's a good baseball player. We watched him for years in Minnesota.
A little bit outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
As Carlos comes back this year and gets a feel, that's usually the last thing, the extension, to try and get that little extra zip on your fastball along with command of the baseball. When you have to build it back up after missing the year, even though you're rehabbing, you're working out, and it probably kills pitchers to do that, but they do it religiously. But it still takes baseball and throws to build that arm up and trust that new ligament in there.
Payoff pitch. Not a play. Well, I don't know if they've got any sun in Berea. I think they were talking about 1 to 3, 2 to 6 inches of snow, something.
Well, if they're from Berea, they have it out here. Then they might be able to ship it back.
Swing and a miss. Down
ball.
Goes Kubel, and that's the first strikeout for Carrasco. 2 down.
That's a nice breaking ball in a great location. You see, there it is. It starts at the knees, a nice slider, and we know Carrasco has a very good slider. He put that in an excellent spot.
Now Willie Bloomquist.
Well, here's a guy that's really turned it around later in his career, hasn't he, over here? Ended up playing shortstop every day for him. Kirk Gibson loves this guy. He can play anywhere. I remember with Seattle and Kansas City and moved
And all
around.
those years seeing him, I always thought this is a National League player
Well,
if I ever saw.
That's why I think he blossomed over here in the National League, getting an opportunity, but he ended up playing every day. I mean, he always ran very well.
Isn't that funny? He comes to the National League finally where they can take advantage of his versatility, and he becomes an everyday player.
Right. It's hard to figure out, but he's done a nice job.
One of the reasons why our favorite guy, John McDonald, was traded by Arizona. He was caught in a numbers crunch here with Bloomquist and Cliff Pennington, also a part of this roster.
That's right. They got Pennington this winter, and you got Parra, who can play some infield, outfield. So
Johnny Mack sent to the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll have an opportunity to play in Pittsburgh. 1, 2, 3 go the Diamondbacks. A strong inning for Carlos Carrasco, striking out a pair. It's 4-1 Cleveland. 4-1. Indians lead the Diamondbacks as we go to the third inning. Lonnie Chisenhall, Nick Swisher, Michael Brantley due up for Cleveland. And that's the trio that got the Indians rolling in the first with 2 outs, nobody on base. Chisenhall and Swisher with back-to-back base hits, and then Michael Brantley on a 3-0 pitch hit a 3-run homer. Caught the outside corner for a strike. That's fouled back out of play.
I have a feeling we're going to get one today in the booth. Right behind home
We're at
plate.
that level.
Yeah.
Right at that perfect level.
Absolutely. Someone takes a good swing, fouls it straight back. And Dick, I'm going to use you as a chest protector.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Ian Kennedy.
Okay.
Lets it fly. And it's a little bit high, 2-2. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you, and we're joined now in the Indians dugout by Indians pitching coach Mickey Callaway in his first season as a Tribe's pitching coach. Mickey, thanks for stopping by. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having us. Good day out today. A lot of fans and beautiful weather.
Can't beat that. Certainly, you're no stranger to the Indians organization and a lot of the pitchers who have come through this system. And interesting today because Carlos Carrasco, Rick and I were talking earlier, he's in the battle for that final spot in the rotation, but we're just wondering how heavy some of the things weigh against him. He's got the 6-game suspension hanging over his head. And, of course, what do you do with a guy coming back from a Tommy John surgery in terms of innings?
Yeah, well, obviously, you want to be a little cautious when you get a guy, especially a talented guy like him that runs it up there in the mid to upper 90s at times. So, it's kind of an interesting case, but he's right in the mix, and he's been looking good so far.
Ground ball to first. Hinske with the flip and 2 quick outs here in inning number 3.
Mick, I guess your 2 biggest projects are going to be your 1 and 2 starters. You got Justin Masterson. You got to try and straighten out and get him back to throwing that sinker and changing speeds, and also Ubaldo Jimenez. How has that gone for you so far this spring?
Oh, it's gone great. Those 2 guys came in prepared, and they've been really working hard on really repeating their mechanics. 2 big guys like that got a lot of the moving parts, so they really have to stay on top and maintain their mechanics, and they've done a really good job so far.
With Ubaldo, did you do anything to his motion to quicken him up and get him to home plate instead of herky-jerky?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we've been trying to do is just pick up his tempo a little bit and let him be the athlete that he is. He's a great athlete, which is evident when he does PFPs. So, that's what we've been trying to do with him, and he's done a really good job of adjusting to it.
Brantley lifts one in the air left field. Prado back there fighting the sun, and he makes the catch. Well, Mick, it was a quick visit, but we appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, that's Indians pitching coach Mickey Callaway as the Indians go 1-2-3. They still lead it 4-1. It's that kind of day. Ditch the socks and shoes, run barefoot through the grass. 4-1 Indians, bottom of the third. And Ian Kennedy, the pitcher, will lead things off for Arizona.
Well, that's true. With the National League pitchers, they take their batting practice, they hit, they have to get ready for the year to start just like a normal player does, as opposed to American League pitchers. They haven't taken batting practice, so instructions come out. You take the pitches, you don't swing.
Well, last year, Kennedy, you see there, 0-78.
Well, he didn't swing most of the time, but he did have 6 ribbies. I guess in the National League, if you can hit, sometimes you can help your cause, but if you can bunt and sacrifice, move the runners along and get your job done, that can keep you in ball games, more times than not, because if a manager knows you can get that runner over, he doesn't have to waste a pinch hitter, especially if it's a tie game.
Yeah.
Now, if you're down, a lot of times they're going to go with the pinch hitter to try and create some runs. But
you think about a sixth inning tie game.
Sure, you can stay in there. He's not going to, especially if you're throwing the ball well. He doesn't want to burn a pinch hitter that early.
2-2 the count. And a hard hit base hit in the left field.
Well, there you go. He heard us talking about him. He put a good swing on the ball and gets a base hit, the 3rd hit for the D-backs. Hits out of that slightly open stance, but a fastball, it's upstairs, and it allows him to get the head of the bat on the ball and get enough on it to get it through the infield. You get the ball down to a lot of those pitchers, they don't use their legs to drive the ball, so they roll over on something, or they just hit a little weak pop up. But if you elevate it for them, it makes it that much easier for them to put the ball in play.
Now Adam Eaton was trying to bunt his way aboard. Not a sacrifice situation there, but
no, this is all part of his game plan. He makes things happen. A little guy that can run, he can bunt, steal bases, play good defense. He tore it up in Double and AAA last year. Now, whether it comes out to where he's an everyday outfielder is to be seen.
pulled the bat back that time. Now 2 balls and a strike.
You know, these Diamondbacks, when you think about it, they're here all year round. They don't have to leave for spring training. Their ballpark down at Chase Field is about 20 miles down the road downtown. Go the 51 to downtown and you're right there.
A little bit high, 3 balls and a strike. Carrasco nicks the outside corner and the count goes full. Ian Kennedy, the pitcher, is at first base. And on the 3-2 pitch, it's fouled back out of play. Before the game earlier this morning, the Indians sent Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber back to AAA. They also reassigned Scott Barnes to the AAA camp. Terry Francona saying that every player takes it differently when they get sent down. Fouled right back. Some guys really have their hopes high and set on making the roster, and they're more disappointed. Other guys, he said Trevor Bauer was very realistic, very insightful, and said, you know, hey, my last bullpen session, I threw 3 pitches that felt really good, perfect. And he said, that's what I'm going to take with me down to AAA and try to work on that, the mechanics of his delivery.
Well, Bauer's a young kid.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to go down and learn professional baseball. But I think if you come to spring training and you've been around and you've had a taste of, lost it in the sun.
Sure did.
Lost it in the sun. Good job by Kennedy to at least just stay halfway. Instead of, you know, he could have just went down a third of the way and not pay attention, thinking that Brantley has a ball, but never anticipate everything's going to be caught out here in Arizona, because that sun will kill you. And it got him right there, even with the glasses. He's looking straight up into the sun. And today they have some high wispy clouds, but look at, he had to turn away. That's a bad feeling. So it'll go as a base hit. They'll move up a base. So
it's almost like he had a beat on it and then maybe lost it.
He had it
at the last 10, 20 feet or so.
He had it, and you know, they're going to help him out, but boy, you have to try and play it off to the side. It's a bad feeling.
So 2 on, nobody out now for Martin Prado. Rip to left.
Comes right back to challenge him.
Over his head and all the way to the fence. Kennedy will score right on his heels. Here comes Eaton. Here's the throw. Not in time, and it gets away. And now going down to third is Prado.
Well, go figure. He come right out of the chute the very next pitch. He's going to challenge Brantley. This one was a line drive, but it got over his head. And that's a tough angle off a right-handed bat, because that's got some spin where it can sink on you. Put a good swing on it. He goes back, and he just couldn't get back there quick enough. And with Adam Eaton running at first base, he didn't hesitate. He's going to score easily, so it's a 2-run double.
He nearly caught Ian Kennedy.
Yeah, so it goes as 3 consecutive hits, and it's a 4-3 ball game.
And Eric Chavez, a base hit and a run scored in the first. Takes a strike. Off the end of the bat, that's going to drop. Brantley will flip to second, and the tying run scores as Prado comes home. The Diamondbacks with 3 here in the third have even the score at 4 apiece.
All started with a pitcher's base hit. A ball lost in the sun, a double, a bloop single. And here you go, 4 consecutive hits. This one right off the end of the bat. It was a good pitch. But for Chavez, he just found the right spot in front of it. Boy, they're testing Michael, aren't they, in that sun? Everybody wants to hit it to left.
Over his head, in front of him, right at him, you name it. He's had a little bit of everything out there today.
Well, Carlos Carrasco better get the ball down and try and get a double play ball. That'll help him out.
Still nobody out in this inning. Aaron Hill, opposite field RBI double his first time up. Trying to go that way again. Lifts it high in the air. Foul territory. Nobody can get to it. Chavez held by Reynolds at first. Broken bat, pops it up on the infield, and Cabrera has it for out number 1. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, Akron taking on VCU in the NCAA tournament, and a look at the Buckeyes' chances in March Madness, plus some perspective on last night's wild Cavaliers Heat game. Get complete coverage of all today's action involving Ohio sports throughout the day on FoxSportsOhio.com. And Montero, a swing and a miss. Miguel Montero flied to left to end the first inning. Just 2 months into last season, Miguel Montero signed a 5-year, $60 million contract extension. An all-star 2 years ago, and then last year we showed you the numbers earlier. He hit 286, 15 homers, 88 runs batted in. But in addition to that, he's a dangerous man behind the plate. About 42% of the would-be base stealers. So,
boy, that's always nice, huh?
And you've got a two-way catcher. You've got gold.
Well, and also some of that stems with the pitchers holding base runners as well.
It goes hand in hand.
Yes,
no doubt
it does.
about that.
Controlling the running game, but anything over 30% for a catcher's good. That's what he needed.
Carrasco goes to Cabrera for one on to first, an inning-ending double play. But Arizona strikes for 3 here in the third, and we're even at 4. For our score as we go now to the fourth inning. And for Cleveland, Mark Reynolds, Ryan Rayburn, Omir Santos due up. Ian Kennedy may have finally found his stride. He's retired 6 in a row after the Indians roughed him up for 4 runs in his first inning plus of work here today. Mark Reynolds, strikeout victim his first time up.
Trying to start him out with that curveball first pitch. He made a couple of adjustments after the first time through the lineup, hasn't he? Comes right back with it to get a feel for it and missed twice in a row.
Outside corner.
Reynolds, a guy that had a few good years out here in the desert. 2009, 44 homers, 102 RBI.
Whoops that one up the middle, and it gets through for a base hit.
That's what you do. You hit a few changeups back at him. Hit some base runners, so that was placed perfectly. And it looked like he was concentrating after the first 2 breaking balls to stay back and get jammed by his fastball. And you see what happens when you do that as a hitter. You just don't commit. Even though the pitch was inside, he still gets a base hit on it and didn't hit it all that hard. But maybe he was sitting on the breaking ball and still reacted to the fastball there. It can be done. A lot of hitters have a tough time doing that, though.
Now Ryan Rayburn making a strong bid to make this ball. Drives one over the head of the center fielder, Eaton. On his way to third is Reynolds. He'll be held there as Ryan Rayburn continues to tear it up here in Arizona. He is 2 for 2 today with 2 more doubles, giving him 5 on the spring.
Boy, you talk about everything coming off his bat is hit right on the nose. And there he tried to throw a fastball by him, and Rayburn's a dead red hitter. Loves the fastball and put a good swing on straightaway center field over the head of Eaton. And I mean, those balls that are line drives coming at you, tough ones to pick up off the bat. So they have second and third and coming right back to try and take the lead.
Omir Santos, an RBI double to right center his first time up.
Well, here you got to be patient, because knowing the pitcher's on deck, he's not going to swing the bat. It's a pretty big at bat here if you want to get a run in. If you're the hitter in the batter's box right now, sit there and be patient and get a pitch to your liking.
In the dirt, 2-0.
I'm sure here in this situation, you remember Brantley hit his home run on a 3-0 pitch. With guys in scoring position, he'll have the green light here, but just you got to target it, zone in on something that you like. And if you don't get it, you take it. You're still in the driver's seat.
Swung on and missed. 3-1.
Well, yeah, he thought he was automatically going to get the fastball, and he came back with a breaking ball. That's one you wanted to take. You don't. The only time you swing is if it's a fastball. You get geared up, you almost guaranteed you think you're getting it, but pitchers. Atta boy.
Line drive, base hit into right field. That'll bring home Reynolds with the go-ahead run. Rayburn stops at third, and the Indians are on top 5-4 as Omir Santos has driven in his second run of the day.
Well, he didn't lose perspective there. He says, okay, I'll just think of taking it the other way again, and gets the base hit. So he ends up putting together a really good at bat. I mean, well done. That's a fastball. They wanted it inside. He didn't get it where he wanted to. And then he does the nice job of shooting it the other way to get the runner in and Rayburn over to third. So we'll see here if maybe Carrasco even bunts the ball to get the guy to second base. He may do that in this at bat, which I can see Terry letting him do. Just try to get that runner to second, stay out of a double play.
Well, I thought he would have had a bunt last time up with a runner at second, nobody out, but. He's not showing any signs of
nothing.
Offering.
Pretty much looks like a cardboard cutout.
But you know, as you said, they haven't practiced bunting. They haven't practiced swinging. So
I just have a hard time with it. I mean, you know, they have enough time in spring training. I'd like to see him at least bunt. Do something. It doesn't even look scary.
Did you see the fake?
Yeah, it's like a cardboard cutout. It got a little windy to blow him off balance.
1-2 the count.
I'd have a tough time with the people heckling you on the way back after taking 6 called strikes. And they're saying, swing the bat. You're thinking, I wish I could.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not allowed.
Well, there you
I'm grounded.
Well, there's the first out, unfortunately.
That gives Kennedy 5 strikeouts on the day. All Carrasco can do is smile.
Well, don't give up any more runs. That's what he could do.
Well, here's Michael Bourne with 2 on, 1 out. Bourne 0 for 2. He has grounded out twice to the second on the right side of the infield. Takes a strike.
This is a time, too, where Bourne, who does like to bunt, it's a perfect time to take the ball with you on first and third if you wanted to. Second baseman Hill's over there. It's cheating for double play depth, and he just keeps pulling the string on Bourne. He's not going to give him much to hit. He may show him the fastball out of the strike zone, but there's the changeup. Down and away, and he gets him to swing. Show.
Fastball up and away.
Yeah, nothing in the strike zone with the fastball that he can put his bat on. That's just to take him off the changeup or the off-speed pitch, so he may come back with a changeup, or he can go breaking ball down and in. Took a while to get the sign, so let's see what he's got.
Paints the outside corner.
Locked him up. That's pitching right there at its finest. I mean, he goes back at him with another fastball, and I know the situation there. You'll see where Bourne's looking for a changeup, and that ball explodes on you, and he nailed the outside corner.
So we'll see if Asdrubal Cabrera can deliver a 2-out hit. He's 0 for 2 today. Indians on top 5-4. Backed him off a little bit. 1-0. Hopper to second. Aaron Hill throws him out, and Kennedy gets into trouble and then gets out of the jam, allowing just 1 run. But the Tribe's on top now, 5-4. The Indians lead the Diamondbacks 5-4 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And we'll see Eric Hinsky, Jason Kubel, and Willie Bloomquist for Arizona against Carlos Carrasco, who's now working on a 1-run lead. Matt Underwood, Rick Manning with you. Let's go down to the Indians dugout, where we're joined now by Brad Mills, part of the Indians coaching staff this year, third base coach. Brad, how are you?
Hey, man, doing well. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping by, making some time for us. former manager of the Houston Astros, and of course that'll be an interesting situation now for them coming into the American League. So you'll get to see those guys this year when the Indians battle the AL West this year. Brad, what's been your focus primarily this spring with the Indians?
Well, you know, it's probably just getting to know a lot of the players more than anything else. How they go about things, and being the third base coach, what kind of jumps they get, what kind of speed they have, and then working with the outfielders. And to tell you the truth, I'm just trying to stay out of the way of that outfield. That's a pretty nice outfield with Drew Stubbs and the two Michaels out there.
Yeah, that should be fun. But I know exactly what you're saying when you have to get to know the base runners, trying to score them, and when they get their leads or secondary leads. But you're going to be blessed with a little more speed than we've had in the past. This will not be a station-to-station team, will it, Brad?
Well, I think you saw it there. When Chisenhall went from first to third with 2 outs, I really kind of was holding him up at second.
Yeah.
But he felt he had a good jump and a good read. But with 2 outs, we want to make sure that he can make sure he gets to third there.
Eric Hinsky finds a hole on the right side, and the Diamondbacks get their leadoff man aboard here in inning number 4 to bring up Jason Kubel. Yeah, I mean, we always talk about speed, Brad, and I think people sometimes confuse base stealing with good base running. And if you go first to third, second to home routinely, that can primarily lead to a lot more runs than necessarily stealing 30, 40 bases.
It sure can. And you really talk about usable speed that the guys have, and we have a lot of speed, and we have a lot of that usable speed. But even some of the guys that I found out with this ball club, they might not be burners or might not be base stealers, but boy, they do a good job of getting those jumps and reads on balls. That's really nice.
Well, you mentioned that's the key to being consistent, doing it on an everyday basis all year long, so you know exactly what to expect.
We saw Mark Reynolds there in that ball to center field. He was able to get a read, but Adam Eaton did a good job of getting back to the ball and get it back in. So that's why we wanted to hold him up at third base with nobody out.
Well, one pitch just missing, 1 ball and 1 strike.
How nice is it coming back with Terry, that you guys, I mean, you played college ball together, you played professional ball together, you were in Boston, and now you're back again. It's got to be a good time for you guys.
Well, it is nice, but you know what? Even more than anything else, Terry does such a good job. I think you guys have been on the field with us at practice. You've seen a lot of things go on, and you see what he's able to do. Whoa, what a nice play by Swish.
That was. Get it back in, Swish. He was.
Oh, man, like I said, he's only been out working in the outfield for 2 days, so that's nice to see.
Look at him. He's talking out there, too. If he would have hit his cutoff, man, it would have had a double play. You got to get on him about that on his way in.
Well,
don't let him get away with it.
I'm sure he'll have something to say about it, that's for sure. But like I was saying, that Terry does such a good job with the players on and off the field. He puts them in good positions to succeed, and that's always nice.
Yeah. Brad, Terry said, he needed that year off last season, even though he was still around the game doing television. But he said it just, kind of helped him get himself re-energized and ready to go. Oh, what a play by Reynolds coming off the bag. They get one. The return throw, not quite in time.
Nice play all the way around.
Well, that was. Mark did a good job there.
Excellent job, and nearly turned an inning-ending double play. How about for you? I mean, 3 long years in Houston. I know when you took over initially, you had a nice run in the second half of that season, but obviously took a lot of lumps. Did you feel like, hey, I want to just stay and get right back in it? Or, I mean, was there ever a thought of maybe I needed a year kind of away from the game too?
There definitely was a thought. To that, I was very fortunate to have a couple opportunities. But when Terry called, and with our relationship and spending so much time together in Philadelphia, in Boston, it was the right situation. And what a great group of players we have, good front office. It was just a good situation.
And you've got to be excited just about, I mean, it's one thing to have a challenge, but you're going into this challenge, as you mentioned, with a great group of guys, some new players, some veterans. You seem like you've got a lot of good pieces in place.
Well, there is. We talk about skill level, and these guys are able to. The skill level is there. That makes it fun. The attitude, the way they go about their business is fun. That is able to bring out the skill that they have, and it has really made it exciting for all of us, I think, so far.
Well, I just hope we can stay healthy all year long and see what this group is made of, because it will take them a little while to get to know each other and build a little chemistry in that clubhouse, won't it?
You know, building chemistry is a big thing. You know, Jason Jambi, Swish, some of those guys have done such a great job to be able to help bring that chemistry along. They've done a great job.
Brad, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate your time. Best of luck this year.
Thanks a lot. Great to talk with you.
That's third base coach Brad Mills. The Indians are out here in the 4th inning, and the Tribe stays on top 5-4.
Well, single game tickets for the 2013 season are on sale now. You can buy early and save on seats for replica jersey giveaways throughout the season. Jason Kipnis, Michael Brantley, and it'll be Nick Swisher, and also Michael Bourne. So you can log on to Indians.com promotions for the full promotional schedule.
Fifth inning here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Talking Stick Ballpark. It's a fantastic facility, hosting both the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. Lonnie Chisenhall fouling one off right side. He singled and scored in the first, struck out his last time up. This was I guess, Rick, the last of the big spring training facilities built here.
Right, that's the Rockies clubhouse down there over the right field corner. The Diamondbacks is in left field corner. That's overlooking the mountains out there. And 101, it's just really a beautiful facility. You can see the berm is jam-packed.
Yeah, lots of folks taking advantage of the afternoon sunshine. There will be one more new facility built, though, the Chicago Cubs.
You go east a little bit farther on 101 over here. We're 101 and 202, and that's where the Cubs will be. They'll be moving from Mason to that new facility next spring. And then the A's will be going from their place down in Phoenix out to the Cubs' old stomping grounds in Mason.
Which is an all strikeout victim. That's 7 Ks for Kennedy. Now 2 of those have come against Carlos Carrasco.
They don't count.
Who's not allowed to swing. But he's pitched sharp. He struggled early in the game.
Well, they bunched their hits.
You're right.
In the first inning, 3 consecutive 2-out hits. They started the second inning with 2 consecutive doubles, and they started the fourth inning with 3 consecutive hits. So you get a guy on base, and he gives it up a couple of times before he settles in.
Now Nick Swisher, 1 for 2, taking a strike.
Swisher, a nice catch out in right field, and that's like he said, he just started taking, Brad Mills said, some balls in the outfield, but he's a good athlete, and he's played the outfield. He's happy to be at first base. He was happy when the addition of Bourne came in because that moved him from right field to first base. But that gives Terry Francona the option, you know, when you're facing somebody, a tough left-hander or something like that, where you can put Reynolds in there at first and put Swisher in the outfield if you want.
And when you look at the composition of the roster, Swisher's presence sort of eliminates the need to carry that so-called fourth outfielder.
Right.
Because you've got 3 guys who can play center, and that's the primary position you're worried most about.
Well, that's the one we have been in the past. We never had a backup center.
So you don't have to worry so much about that. Swisher sends one high in the air, deep to center, Eaton back.
Got in on him a hair.
And he pulls it down on the warning track for out number 2. Back in the first inning, there were 2 outs, nobody on base. Lonnie Chisenhall singled, then Nick Swisher singled, then on a 3-0 pitch, Michael Brantley leaves the yard. And that got the Indians on top early, 3-0. His first home run of the spring, he has 7 runs driven in.
You know, Michael's not a guy you think home runs, but he's certainly big enough. He has the power to hit the ball when he puts a short, quick swing on it. I mean, he's very quick on the inside, but he's more of a high average guy that, you know, he doesn't worry about the power. They will come.
Talking with Michael, he's really just like a kid. He's excited to be playing alongside Michael Bourne.
Well, he gets some help in that lineup this year. Some of these younger players are going to get some help, which it takes some pressure off of them. Last year, they felt if they didn't do it on their own or every time they came to the plate, it wasn't going to get done, and that's not the way to play the game. You got to be able to relax and enjoy it.
Gets under the glove of Aaron Hill, who tried to go to the backhand to make the stop. And Brantley keeps the inning alive.
Well, he figures he had to get that ball and get rid of it in a hurry. He just didn't get down enough as that ball gets under his glove. Brantley will be credited with a base hit. See it go up on the backhanded side, gets underneath. So a 2-out single. Let's see if they can continue to get a couple more base hits here.
Mark Reynolds singled his last time up. He just punched one right through the middle of the infield. Talked about those monster numbers that Reynolds put up playing here in Arizona in his career. He's a convert, though, if you think about it. Grew up in Virginia Beach, went to the University of Virginia, but now makes his home in Scottsdale.
Yeah, you play out here, you like the area. There's you know, you're away from it in the summertime now, so he doesn't have to worry about the 115 degrees or 110, which is nice. Keeping an eye on Brantley in this situation with 2 outs. If I'm Brantley, you don't want to run early because here's a guy that can hit a ball out of the ballpark. If he gets behind in the count and falls behind 0-2 or something like that, then you may want to take off and protect him. But you got to give Reynolds a couple chances to swing the bat because he can leave the yard. You know, you get the count in your favor. He's not going to see a whole lot of fastballs. The last time, Reynolds just gave it up, and it looked like he was looking for everything off speed and just pushed the fastball up the middle.
2-0 the count.
This guy has tremendous power. You know, and he's what you call your typical power hitter like they have been in the past, like a Dave Kingman. He'll strike out 200 times, but he'll hit 30, 35 home runs. And hopefully he can hit them and drive them in. That's what he's going to be paid to do. And play a little defense. Made a beautiful play at first base last inning.
Hit 23, drove in 69 last year with Baltimore. That came in 135 games.
You know, it did a nice job at first base defensively. You know, he was normally a third baseman. They moved him over to first, and he can hold his own over there.
We saw him make a terrific play last inning.
So he didn't want to give in here. It's a 2-0 count. He tried to make the perfect pitch and Reynolds laid off, so he's got an opportunity to sit here and look for a pitch.
It's ball 4 and it's in the dirt. So 2 on, 2 out. Ryan Rayburn's having a big day. He has doubled in each of his first 2 plate appearances.
Yeah, this guy, he hasn't missed a fastball, I don't know, this spring. They're both up, one down the line, one straight away center field over the head of Eaton. That's where Eaton did a good job getting on the ball. He didn't get a ribby a second time, but I don't think you'll see a fastball in this at-bat for a strike.
A pinch runner for Mark Reynolds as Chris McGinnis comes into the ballgame. Inside ball 1.
See, Montero wants to go out and talk to him now because he started him off change up in, but Rayburn notoriously a very good spring hitter.
Well, and Ryan Rayburn is fighting for a job. He's a non-roster guy, come to camp, trying to win a spot here with the Indians, and you know, and should they decide to keep him, they'll have to make room for him on the 40-man roster.
Well, he likes it here. We talked to him back in Winter Haven. How about that? Flashback. We talked to him back in Goodyear. Was it last week when we televised the game?
Swung on and missed. 1-1. A little bit low, 2 balls and a strike. Michael Brantley at second base. Chris McGinnis, the pinch runner, at first. And the 2-1 to Rayburn is up and in, 3 balls and a strike. See Kennedy at 86 pitches, building towards that 100 pitch mark on opening day, and he's not far from it. No activity in the Arizona bullpen. His pitching coach Charles Nagy looks on from the Arizona dugout. He's got the clicker, the pitch counter in his hand.
Well, back-to-back walks. Hadn't walked anybody until this inning with 2 outs. It's Reynolds and Rayburn, a couple of guys that got him the time before. Nagy going to come out and have a talk to his pitcher. And this guy, Omir Santos, has had a nice day as well. Both going the other way. And that at-bat, and then in the second at-bat had a 3-0 count. Swung at it, but then made the adjustment to take another ball that way. Did a good job. That's why they have the lead there. He drove in their 5th run with nobody out in the 4th.
Well, the nice thing is here, okay, now gamesmanship aside, if you know Carrasco's not swinging, you could just walk Santos and then pitch to Carrasco. But now that the bases are loaded, he can't walk Santos.
No.
He's got to pitch to him.
That's right. And here you go again, 2 outs, and the Indians get 3 straight runners on base. So that has been a pattern today.
It's been the game of bunches for the Indians.
Even though they were hits every other time, after the 2-out single, there's 2 walks to load them up. Oh, a little aggressive.
Squibbed off the end of the bat to first. Hinske will take it himself, and the Indians will leave him loaded. Middle of the 5th, it's Cleveland 5, Arizona 4. 5-4 Indians on top, bottom of the 5th inning now. Top of the order for Arizona. Carlos Carrasco back out for the Indians. We've got a few changes now for the Tribe defensively. Nick Swisher no longer in the ball game because he's down in the Indians dugout with a headset on now.
What's up, fellas?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Very good. Terry Francona said you've only had a couple of days working back in the outfield. It looks like you never left.
Hey, you know what, guys? I mean, I've been very fortunate in my career. I've gotten to play a lot of positions. I played left, I played center, I played right, played first base as well. So, I am versatile, which is nice. So wherever he needs me to go, I'm ready to do that.
Well, after that beautiful catch you made out there looking up into the sun, he says you're going to start out there opening day now.
I don't know about that, fellas.
And then Reynolds made a beautiful diving catch
man.
at first base,
Awesome,
didn't he?
Man. It's so cool, man, being a right fielder, especially when you see your first and second baseman laying out for balls because you get that front row seat, man.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to watch.
Well, there are so many new faces on this ball club, and you guys are getting to know each other in terms of what you can do on the field, strengths, weaknesses, where you need to help a guy out.
Exactly.
How long does that generally take, Nick? I mean,
I think it's all about just finding that camaraderie within the team. It's a long season, fellas. This is a marathon, not a sprint, So you're going to have your good times, you're going to have your bad times. But, for us, man, I feel we've got a tight group of guys. And if we keep having each other's back, we're going to go out there, we're going to have a very successful season.
People don't understand that it takes 162 for guys to go out there and get after it. And see who's got who's back. Through good and bad. I think you see more of it when you go through the bad times.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, fellas, man. This game is, let's be honest, man. You succeed 3 out of 10 times. You tell me a job where you're going to be able to go back to work on Monday morning for that.
Yeah, right.
Boy, an interesting play right there. It goes off Carrasco's leg.
Right.
Chisenhall's got it cleanly. Makes the throw to first. But McGinnis came, I guess his foot came off the bag.
No, fellas, I'm sitting right here by first base.
Did it.
I saw it was on there.
He's out. He's out. He blew the call. Spring training.
I'm going to have to tell Wolfie about that.
Yeah.
Let him know.
Yell at him right now.
Hey, Wolfie, that's a bad call.
He turned around and looked, too.
Oh, man. You know what, guys? This has been such a great spring, man. To be over here with these guys, like you're saying, everybody's new. We're all really trying to get to know each other. But the way that we've played this spring so far, man, you got to be really happy about things right now. We've stayed healthy. That's obviously a crucial point. But, we've had some guys have some seriously lights-out spring trainings. Guys like, Ryan Rayburn, Lonnie Chisenhall's having a great spring, Michael Brantley as well. It's so nice to see these guys going out and having success because those are the guys that you want to get hot to take that into the season. You
know what, Swish? I think this ball club needed what they went out to get. Some veterans like yourself, like Giambi, some guys to take some pressure off the younger players that haven't really made a name for themselves
Well,
yet.
I was fortunate enough to come up in an Oakland A's organization where we had a lot of young guys.
Right.
And you're right. It is because you feel a lot of pressure, like you have to produce because you're kind of at that point, whether you're going to stay in the big leagues or you're going to kind of drop back down to AAA. So to bring over guys like myself, Mark Reynolds, Jason Giambi, Brett Myers, to take a little heat off of these young guys, man, that's what we're here for.
To that end, the Harlem Shuffle video.
No, Harlem Shake.
Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
Harlem Shake. He's got to correct me, too.
Right? Get a little buzz in the 216, fellas.
I hear you. Well, it was awesome. And unfortunately, we don't have the video to show our viewers right now. But if you can get it online, right, Nick, and YouTube probably?
Yeah,
Indians.com.
YouTube, or you can go to ClevelandIndians.com. Let's go to that website.
Go to
Let's bring some traffic over there.
There you go. Find the Harlem Shake. But what this was, essentially, you were kind of the linchpin that organized this thing. But this was really team building, wasn't it?
Absolutely, man. It was in my mind. It was kind of my director's debut. But I think the biggest thing about it, and the thing that I was so excited and so proud of the guys, was we had a week to get our costumes, and every single person on the team participated. Whether it was coaches, whether it was training staff, whether it was strength staff, players. It was so great because you got to build team chemistry. And in this game, man, you got to have fun. I've been preaching that for years. And to be able to do that, man, Tito giving me that hour during the morning to be able to get that done. That's something we still talk about till today. So, that's something that we'll always be able to have. and something we could always look back on to be like, guys, man, this time right here, we were having so much fun just doing our thing. And I think for us, it's showing out on the field because we're playing good baseball, we're having a blast doing it, and we're getting ourselves ready to have a great year.
How hard a sell was it for Terry Francona to do that? He's doing a little dancing.
Yeah. Kind of like a little finger thing with a little hip action right there. That was kind of the move. So, but you know what, man? We're so fortunate to have him as our manager over here. He's made this camp so amazing. Sometimes you go into spring trainings, it's a little tight, it's a little stuffy, but having a guy like Terry Francona leading the charge for you, man, he makes it right. He doesn't have many rules, but the one rule he has is come to the ballpark and play hard every day.
That's the only rule you should have.
That's all you need, fellas. That's it.
That's right. Play that game like it's going to be your last one because you never know when it is.
You never know. Yes, sir. You're exactly right.
Nice pitch by Carrasco to strike out Eric Chavez.
Hey, when you get off the headset today, when we're done with you, do me a favor. Tell Bart and Frankie that they're bad in the background. They're making you look bad. They're ugly.
Right?
Tell them that move.
I got Frank and Bart just hanging out. Might be checking some March Madness scores.
I
Not
think
quite
they
sure.
are.
We'll have to see what they're up to after this.
Yeah, I mean, there is such a thing as window dressing. They're not in.
Yeah, well, let's box it off a little bit. Let's tighten the frame
shot,
up.
man. You're the director. Let's go.
You know what, guys? Carrasco, man, we really need to talk about him a little bit, man. This spring, after he showed me a lot of intestinal fortitude when he got hit with that line drive a couple starts ago and stayed in the game. And since then, guys, he's been so lights out for us. I'm really, really excited to see what he's going to be able to do for us.
Well, Nick, you've been on teams before. You need battles, and there's competition for the last spot in this starting rotation. Carrasco,
like you said,
Kazmir.
That's so great, and that's a great thing for Francona. We've got a lot of guys that can play a lot of different positions. That's a good thing to have for a manager. So, but like you're saying, man, having those battles, man, it's all tight within the team, but to be able to have guys fighting every single day, that's great, man, because that makes you bring your A game every single day.
2 down here in the inning with a runner at second base now.
Oh, I thought he got hit by that pitch. You didn't see that?
I guess it missed him.
Must have.
Santos
pulled the Houdini on him.
Yeah, Santos boxed it. It was down and in towards the back leg.
There we go. Good pitch.
Should get him out of the inning, but you never know with this guy in Arizona.
Oh, we got it.
Got it.
Big lawn. We got big lawn over there, fellas.
Nick, nice job. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a good day.
All right, Nick Swisher with us. The Indians lead the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-4 after 5. Hey, this Saturday, Sports Time Ohio is the best matchups of the year in high school basketball. All 4 state title games starting at 10:30 in the morning and running throughout the day. Don't miss a minute of the boys' state championship games here on Sports Time Ohio this Saturday. The day is over for Ian Kennedy. He went 5 innings, allowing 5 runs on 9 hits, walked 2, struck out 7. He'll give way to J.J. Hutz, the Diamondbacks closer. And 77 saves and a 2.48 ERA in his 2 seasons with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Well, when Kevin Towers took over here, his job was to put together a bullpen for these guys. He went out and got Putz, who came back and has done a nice job in that closer's role. And, you know, like any team, you build from the back and move it forward. And if you've got that guy, and he means so much to this team because of being a veteran and being in charge of that bullpen and taking care of everybody else. He went out and made trades for Hernandez and other people. They even have Heath Bell this year that's going to be out in that bullpen, who Kevin Towers had out in San Diego.
Gordon Phelps bounces out to second for out number 1. Tony Campana is now in center field for Arizona. All kind of changes.
Yeah, that's right. It's halfway through the game. It's that time.
Top of the order, Michael Bourne.
About 10 days it won't be. Well, we won't have to have that white tape to put over your scorecard.
He is looking maybe to bunt, to drop one down there, but hold it back.
I read the paper here this winter that Putz is messing around with a cutter. He's got the good split finger fastball and the 4-seamer. And that cutter would be used, I think it was it right there, to the left-handers where you can throw that fastball. It's a cut. It's not as hard as your 4-seamer, but it goes into the left-handed bats. And then that would really set up his split very good to the left-handers if he can throw it and can throw it consistently. You know, not that he really needs it, because you can see he's one of the pitchers that has that ball in the split grip going into the glove and will change it once he gets into the glove.
And the Michigan native deals down low. Arizona, they did a great promotional ad spot with J.J. Putz. It was a straight takeoff on the Kerry Wood State Farm commercial where he pulls Andre Dawson out of the ivy. They did it where J.J. Putz, you know, they have that swimming pool.
Right.
He pulls Luis Gonzalez out of the swimming pool. And Luis Gonzalez says, "What year is it?" It's really well done. Diamondbacks have had some exciting teams out here the last couple of years under Kirk Gibson. Fouled back, but it's still a, you know, Rick, relatively speaking, it's still a young team in terms of
franchise
history.
Yeah.
And it's a very transient area out here.
And they already won a World Series.
Yeah.
You know, you go back to, what was it, 2001?
Yeah.
True. They're in a tough division. They've got the Dodgers to contend with, the Giants, who've won 2 out of the last 3 World Series. And, you know, they play in the one ballpark where the ball jumps. You know, not at Chase Field. The other ballparks in that division, other than Colorado. Colorado is like that too, but it's you get to L.A., San Diego, San Francisco, the ball doesn't carry as well. Those are good pitchers' parks.
It is interesting to see how this National League Western Division will evolve, because the Giants, the defending world champions, they have the dominant pitching, but now you have this monolith franchise, the Dodgers, who just seem to spend and keep spending and keep spending, and you wonder,
the money tree.
At what point will they, put it all together?
Well, as we've witnessed, and we've witnessed it before, it doesn't, just because you spend money doesn't guarantee you W's or wins. You have to stay healthy. Sure, they went out and they signed and they picked up a lot of contracts in that trade with Boston. You know, with Beckett and Crawford, and is Crawford going to play this year? We'll see. They have some pretty good players.
Two down in the inning as Drupal Cabrera 0 for 3 on the afternoon.
I'll tell you what, a breath of fresh air. How was it talking to Swisher? Holy smokes.
Cabrera hit by the pitch, and a 2-out base runner. Well, what's refreshing about Nick Swisher is that personality is not an act. That's just simply who he is. He's that way,
and always
all
has
the time.
Yeah.
Because Rick, as you know from being in big league clubhouses most of your life, if it's not real, it won't play, and guys would turn you out very quickly.
Oh yeah, he's the real deal. It's going to be interesting and a lot of fun. As he mentioned, it's a lot of work, but you go out there and the chemistry will build, and it's going to take a little while. And he's one big reason why that chemistry will get tighter and tighter sooner than later.
And I just enjoy watching the veteran players, like Jason Giambi, who, granted, he's at the end of his career, and yet every day at practice. Today he had Cord Phelps and working with him at first base because the Indians want Cord Phelps to get some reps at first. Working with him on the footwork, what to do in certain situations, how to handle the trail runner when the runner goes first to second. He was out there just working with him one-on-one.
He's like another coach in uniform, and players listen to players, a lot more than they listen to coaches. So, I mean, it's very valuable to have guys like that. And, he's going to have to hit to help this ball club, and hopefully he can do that if they choose to keep.
Pitch is inside, and it missed.
Because he spent his last few years training right here with the Rockies.
Yeah.
He even interviewed for that Colorado Rockies job.
Which ultimately went to Walt Weiss.
Right.
J.J. Putz hasn't given up a run in this inning, but he has not been especially sharp. You can tell he's just off a tick with his command. (3-1) up and away, ball 4. He's walked a batter after hitting a batter, and now the Indians have 2 on with 2 out. And it's going to be Matt Carson, who took over for Nick Swisher.
They'll get suited up for spring training at the official online shop of the Cleveland Indians with the largest selection of authentic spring training gear, including clubhouse caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for spring at the official source, ClevelandIndians.com shop.
It's Carson, the swing and a miss. Last year, limited opportunities with the Twins. Carson hit .227. Call to strike. And it's 0-2. Michael Brantley, Michael Bourne, both done for the day. Carson takes strike 3 called. So J.J. Putz works a scoreless 6th inning, but it's the Indians and Nick Swisher who lead the Diamondbacks 5-4. 5-4, Indians on top, bottom of the 6th inning. 5, 6, 7 spots in the Arizona batting order. Right-hander Joe Smith will come on. Last year, 72 appearances, 7 wins, an ERA of .296. And you see the splits. Very good. I mean, that was the key for Joe Smith, is that he was almost as effective against lefties as he was right-handers.
Yeah, for the last 2 years. You know, the first year he came in here and he had trouble with left-handers, but he really settled in and, you know, is taking it as the bullpen has. When late in the ball game it's turned over to them, they take it personally. They expect to close the game, to save the game for whoever starts it when they turn the lead over to them, and it's really a good attitude to have because, I mean, they just build off of it.
Miguel Montero 0 for 2. He's flied out, hit into a double play. 2 balls and a strike. There's a rocket hit into right field.
Well, he wasn't going to fall behind anymore, so he went in and challenged him, and Montero got him with the fastball and put a nice swing on it.
All right, so for the Indians, Tyler Holt is in left, Carrera in center, Carson in right. You get Cord Phelps, Luis Hernandez, and Chris McGinnis on the infield. Kinski 0 for, I should say 1 for 2. Base hit his last time up. Called a strike, outside edge, 0-1. See Steve Sachs maybe in the foreground of your screen there. Shot at first base. He's the first base coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he's been out. They brought him back. He was not in baseball. Guy that spent a lot of time in the big leagues. Good player for a long time. Was out of baseball as a motivational speaker. Of course, he was with the Dodgers and ended up with the Yankees. Their coaching staff, you have about as much experience as anybody in all of baseball. With Gibson as the manager, and then you go on.
We talk about playing
line.
Experience.
Yeah.
Matt Williams at third base.
Trammell as his bench coach, about 20 years. You got Mitch Williams, Don Baylor as the hitting coach. Steve Sachs, or did I say? Yeah, Matt Williams. And Steve Sachs and Don Baylor and Charlie Nagy. And
a walk now for Joe Smith, and the Diamondbacks have their first 2 on here in the 6th inning. Jason Kubel 0 for 2, fly to deep right his last time up. You heard, if you weren't with us, Joe Smith was telling us earlier today during the game that the setback that he had, the oblique problem that he had earlier in camp, was not nearly as severe or as troublesome as the injury he had a couple of years ago.
Right.
When that was the year I think you were talking about, when he had troubles with lefties. And
yes, that was the year.
He was more early guy out of the bullpen than he was late. And
he started the year on the DL. Never really came out of camp.
Yep.
Ready to go. And for Chris Perez, I think it's the same way. Last year his troubles were worse with that oblique than it is with his shoulder, so he says. So hopefully everything will be set and ready to go when they get ready on April 2nd in Toronto. You know, I was thinking about that schedule, and you know, as it sets up during the year, we're done on turf fields after a first trip.
Think about that.
You know what I mean? Sometimes during the year when we used to go, and you'd have to go to Toronto a couple times, or you'd have to go to Tampa maybe once or twice. A lot of times during the middle of the year, that turf field takes a toll on some players. Well, they'll be done with it coming out of spring training after the first trip, which I think is beautiful.
Fly ball to left field. Tyler Holt makes the grab, and the runners have to hold one down.
Well, single game tickets are on sale for this year, and you buy early and save on seats for bobbleheads of 2 Tribe favorites. Old timers, Albert Bell will have his bobblehead on June 1st, and then Omar Vizquel, his night will be July 8th. So you can go to Indians.com for promotions and check them out. Bringing back some of the boys of the 90s, some of the all-time favorites. Omar stayed in baseball. I think he's with the Angels as a minor. He's their
roving minor league instructor.
Couldn't get anybody better than that as an infielder, could you? For a roving instructor to teach all the kids.
Pop. It's going to go out of play. Missed inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rip foul. Saw Paul Goldschmidt in the on deck circle. Popped him up. McGinnis puts it away, 2 down. And that will bring up Paul Goldschmidt, a young player that the Diamondbacks are very high on. In fact, they've either begun talks or they're going to talk to him about a contract extension.
They're talking right now. They'd like to get it done, I'm sure, before the season starts. This young man has got some kind of power. First baseman, murders left-handed pitching, but he's got a good approach from the right side where he can take it to right center field.
Big chopper to third. Phelps will go to the bag himself, and Joe Smith gets out of trouble. 6 in the books. It's Cleveland 5, Arizona 4. Sunday, NASCAR heads back west for the Auto Club 400 presented by Coca-Cola. Daytona 500 champ Jimmy Johnson looking for his 6th career win in his home state. But Tony Stewart, the defending champion, will be there as well. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of the Auto Club 400 presented by Coca-Cola begins Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Time. All right, we'll go now to the 7th inning. And the Diamondbacks go back to their bullpen. Right-hander Brad Ziegler will come on now. Right-handed side armor. And a sinker in there for a strike over the outside corner. Ezekiel Carrera. Slow chopper up the middle. Off balance throw. Pulled him off the bag.
Come on, guess they're going to give a base hit because he would have had to make a perfect throw, and it's hard to do when you're running up the middle that way. Makes the backhanded stab, but watch his movement going away from the bag. Had to put a good throw and realize that Carrera is running. I think he might have beat it out anyway. That's a base hit. So you've got some speed aboard.
And Chris McGinnis will step to the plate for the first time. Came on as a pinch runner back in the 5th. Ziegler, like so many right-handed side armors, had trouble early in his career against left-handed hitters. They felt like he did a better job against lefties last year.
Well, anytime you're a guy that throws from down under or sidearm like Joe Smith, like this guy here, you have to be able to throw something inside to the left-handers to keep them honest for your bread and butter pitch, that sinker away. I don't care if it's a four-seam fastball, if it's a cutter. It's hard to throw a cutter when you're down on the side. So you've got to get a pitch that you can throw inside to left-handers to keep them honest. And once you prove you can throw it for strikes, then it'll open up the outside part of the plate where you want to get them out with anyway.
McGinnis pulls it foul at the first base line.
Well, the Indians are rolling back prices on your favorite ballpark food for every game this year. You get a $4 12-ounce domestic beer, $3 hot dogs, $2 soda refills, $1 hot dogs on 15 different occasions, and that doesn't mention the lower prices on nacho, pretzels, popcorn, and more. So go to Indians.com for the info.
Shoots it foul into the Arizona dugout, and then it came ricocheting back out onto the field. I don't wake him up in a hurry. Carrera with a good lead at first base.
Yeah, it's time to come in. He's been away. Now it's time to show him inside. Got him.
And that's out number 1.
You can see that ball down and in. Normally left-handers love that pitch, and I'm sure McGinnis does, but the pitches before that were away, trying to stay alive, and he throws one in and gets him to swing and miss at it.
Well, here's Ryan Rayburn. They've yet to retire him today. He has doubled twice, and he has walked. Puts a charge into one to center field, but right at Campana, who makes the grab for out number 2.
Well, you talk about being locked in. Even his outs are hard. Right on the nose.
And it brings up Omir Santos. Now, Rick, as the saying goes, players tend to make the decisions for you as a manager or as an organization. And Ryan Rayburn has done everything in his power to make this ball club by just going out and playing well.
Yeah. He's made it easy because he hasn't done anything wrong in spring, that's for sure.
But as Terry Francona says, look, if you just make your decisions based on spring training, you're going to be wrong a lot of the time.
Yeah, and he won't do it.
So he said, you know, you have to take a lot of different things into consideration when making final decisions on roster spots.
But as a player, all you can do is come in and do what Ryan Rayburn has done. You can't do anything more. You try and make their job as easy as possible. They'll filter in everything else, but he has had a terrific spring, and you know, changing uniforms is not an easy thing to do.
Omer Santos takes a called strike. He's had a good day. A couple of big RBI hits early on in the game. Santos, a guy who, you know, primarily was tabbed as a defensive-minded backup catcher early on in his career. As labels go, it's tough to shake. But
well, there's a lot of defensive backstops that hang around the big leagues for a long time. You know, not worried about them hitting if they, you know, fill in or they're a second catcher. You can last a long time in this game just from handling a pitching staff and throwing out base runners.
This guy's hung around a long time. Not necessarily in a prime time role, but Santos will turn 32 at the end of April. Santos is originally drafted by the Yankees. He's also spent time with the Orioles, Tigers.
Really paying a lot of attention, and rightfully so. With 2 outs, 2 strikes, you figure this guy's got to run, but Ziegler's keeping an eye on Carrera, who has, what, 9 stolen bases this spring. Yes.
He went around, and Ziegler gets the strikeout. He gets a pair in the inning. Stretch time. And talking stick, 5-4 Cleveland. The Indians lead the Diamondbacks 5-4 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Cody Allen coming on now to pitch for Cleveland. Third Indians pitcher used here today after Joe Smith worked a scoreless 6th inning. Allen got his first taste of the big leagues last year and was very impressive in 27 games, 3.72 ERA.
Yeah, for a young player and moving up as quickly as he did, he opened some eyes, and it opened you know, an opportunity for him this spring. So, you know, he has a very good possibility to make this ball club.
Brian Girolamo takes over behind the plate, and now Matt Antonelli is into the ball game at second base. There's a strike to the outside corner. Tony Campana getting his first at bat of the day. Took over for Adam Eaton, who was 1 for 3 with a run scored. Two quick strikes from Cody Allen. Breaking ball misses down low. '24-year-old Cody Allen was a 23rd round pick back in 2011. Normally, guys who fly through the system that fast are the first, second, third, fourth round picks.
You know, yeah, when you think about it, you're right. It took him less than a year to get up there. Even when you're a first round pick, it's tough to get up there that quickly.
I'll give the Indians credit. They were persistent. They drafted him in 2010 in the 16th round, but he didn't sign. Came back 1 year later, drafted him again, and they got him on the dotted line, and he has quickly gone through the system. Really jammed him.
Boy, I'll say.
I'm surprised the bat didn't break.
That's because he got in there too deep.
Well, Carlos Carrasco started today for the Indians, still trying to win a spot in the starting rotation. He went 5 innings, charged with 4 runs, didn't walk a batter, struck out 3. Of those 8 hits, one of those was a fly ball that was just lost in the sun.
Well, and that led to a big inning back in the 3rd where they scored 3 runs. So, I mean, he pitched pretty well today. He ended up getting command of his pitches.
Martin Prado, 1 for 3, 2-run double.
But like we say, when we talk about Carlos and you're coming out of the gate, if he was to break with this team, he's got to serve his 6-game suspension, which is going to be hard to do when you need 5 starters coming out of the chute right from the get-go.
I think he would have had to clearly been one of your 5 best starters. I mean, clearly, to make the rotation.
Now, I don't think it's going to be a bad thing for him if he doesn't make it and goes down to get a little feel, if he takes the right approach, the right attitude.
Deep right field. On the run, Carson makes the catch. Matt Carson with a good jump on the ball. Pulls it down for out number 2.
You know, takes that right approach, right attitude, and says, I want to get, you know, my control right back where I want to, my slider, my changeup, my things for when he is going to be here this year. He will pitch in the big leagues. It's just a matter of when.
Eric Chavez, couple of hits, an RBI and a run scored. Not employed.
Boy, this guy at one time when he was with Oakland was about as good as there was at third base and had great pop and then had some issues, back issues, and a lot of injuries. But when healthy, he was really good.
Tyler Holt makes the catch on the front edge of the warning track. And the Diamondbacks go 1-2-3. We'll go to the 8th inning. It remains Cleveland 5, Arizona 4.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Eighth inning. Cleveland on top by a run. Left-hander Matt Reynolds now coming on for Arizona. Reynolds last year with Colorado. ...144 appearances over the last 2 seasons with the Rockies. Will Nieves is the new backstop now for Arizona. And we've got more changes to tell you about, but let's start with Cord Phelps at the plate. And a strike call. These two teams came out swinging the bats well. Indians scored 3 in the first. And that ball smoked to left field. It is cut off, but in the middle of the warning track. Phelps, big turn, he'll hold with a long leadoff single.
Well, he hit that ball right on the nose. I thought he might try to go for second, leading it off, maybe get himself in a scoring position, but in left field did a nice job of cutting it off, getting it in. He was deep.
Tyler Holt gets his first at bat of the day.
Yeah, you look at the scoring, it was all in the first 4 innings.
Yeah.
D-backs came back and they answered that 3-run first with a run of their own. Indians answered in the second. They didn't score in the third, but the D-backs scored 3. We thought it could have been one of those Arizona games out
had
here,
all the earmarks early on.
It sure did. You can get some double-digit games out here, 12 to 10 and so on, depending on how it's going, and it looked that way early.
Hold a swing and a miss, and he is out quickly. 1 down. In the first inning, Michael Brantley with 2 on, 2 out on a 3-0 pitch, unloaded, with the Indians up 3-0. And Omir Santos got into the act, an RBI double in the second. Santos again in the fourth with an RBI base hit. That put the Indians in front 5-4, and it's a lead they have not relinquished. Diamondbacks' first run of the game came on a 2-out RBI double from Aaron Hill in the first, and then their 3-run third, highlighted by a Martin Prado 2-run double. Eric Chavez also had a bloop RBI single in that inning. But it's been goose egg since for both sides. Luis Hernandez getting his first trip to the plate, taking over for Asdrubal Cabrera. Is called by the first base umpire on Matt Reynolds.
You know, he was awfully close the other time he threw over there. I saw Phelps looking over at Mike Sarbaugh. Now maybe they said something to the umpire, but it was borderline. He had 2 different moves over there. Let's look at it from the side, from behind him. Yeah, he was. Anytime your momentum as a left-hander is going to home plate or you're gliding to the plate, you have to throw the ball to the plate. You can't hesitate and go to first base, and that clearly was a balk. Look at, he's looking down to where he stepped. Doesn't matter. His momentum was going to the dish. You have to throw the ball.
Two-strike pitch. Down in the dirt. Well, Nieves was with the Diamondbacks only for a couple of months last year, but obviously made a very solid impact on Kirk Gibson and his staff. Strike three called. Couple of Ks now for Matt Reynolds. All right, here's the new look Arizona defense with Brandon Drury now at third base. Cliff Pennington is at short. Josh Wilson at second. Mark Teahan, the former Kansas City Royal, is at first. And the outfield of David Nick, Braylon Almadova, and Tony Campagna. Brian Girolamo is at the plate now, his first at bat today. Rick, remember just a couple of days ago the game where the umpire was hit by a pitch, had his hand broken, and then Tim McClellan wound up calling pitches from behind the pitcher's mound. The unfortunate umpire that had his hand broke is the umpire that called that balk, Seth Buckminster at first base. See, he's got the cast on.
I thought he had his bowling brace on, so when he hooks that ball on the lanes, there it is. He took a foul tip.
It wasn't a foul tip. It hit Pujols. Pujols deflected, and it just caught him square.
How many times you see that during the course of the year where it hits it either comes down and hits a catcher or an umpire, and you see those guys get hurt.
The one you don't see very often is what we had in our game the other day, where the bat of Mark Reynolds on the follow through hit the umpire in the face mask.
Yeah.
Girolamo with a swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt, and they'll throw him out to end the inning. Middle of the eighth. It remains 5-4 Indians. Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. Indians lead the Diamondbacks 5-4. Bottom of the 8th inning. And the Tribe will go now to Brian Shaw, who pitched with these Diamondbacks last few years. Last season, 64 games in the area of 349. He pitched better later in the season. He was sent down to AAA Reno when he came back in 21 games after the call-up. He had 10 straight appearances without an earned run to end the season.
Well, that's ending it on a good note.
Yeah. 25-year-old right-hander was a second-round pick, 73rd overall selection by the D-backs back in 08. And a fastball for a strike. Fastball outside corner. He's going to work here. He's got him down on the count of 1-2. Pennington, former Oakland shortstop. Back.
Pennington, was a pretty good shortstop for Oakland for a while. Had some issues last year with the elbow, and I think it affected his hitting a little bit. But the switch hitter, high ball hitter from the left side, good shortstop, plays the game hard.
Got him looking.
That's a good pitch down and away, man. That was nasty. I mean, look at him. He just slings it up there and it stays right on the outside edge. I mean, shaves the corner. Locks up Pennington. Can't pull the trigger. Out number 1.
Shaw came to the Indians as part of that 3-team trade that involved Shin Soo Choo. The Indians also sent Jason Donald and Tony Sipp. Donald to the Reds. Tony Sipp here to Arizona. And the Indians got Trevor Bauer along with Shaw and Matt Albers. Not to mention Drew Stubbs by way of Cincinnati. So there were a lot of moving parts to that trade, and as Chris Antonetti told us a few days ago, I mean, just a trade with one team is sometimes difficult to pull off. You add another team and just the logistics of it.
You sit back and we don't even realize. I mean, we can sit and talk about it.
Nice grab on the dive. It's short by Luis Hernandez.
Very nice play. Ball hit right on the nose, but always nice to have a little defense. Ranging to his left, glove side. 1, 2, and the dive. 2 steps in the dive to put it away. Retire Martin.
Well, it's obvious when you look back at how that trade came together that Cincinnati coveted Shin Soo Choo. It's okay, you had a fit there, but then when the Indians looked at the Red system, they didn't have the kind of players coming back in return, obviously, to make that deal work, because the Indians, they were looking for a young starting pitcher, which is where Trevor Bauer, and they needed some bullpen help too. And so that's how.
But
in Cincinnati had Didi Gregorius,
but that's who they
Arizona
sent to Cleveland.
coveted.
Yes, and that's who they sent to Cleveland, knowing that Arizona would like that shortstop to play, a young guy. So he came into that Choo trade. I mean, we make it sound like it's easy. I'm sure that when call after call to try and put things together.
Think about how many different names are exchanged before you finally get to, okay, I'll agree to that.
Because the talks were, Cabrera going out to Arizona. They were looking for Asdrubal Cabrera for a shortstop, really, when all the talks began. That never came down.
Well, and as Chris Antonetti told us, the key was being able to add the veterans to this team, make some key moves while keeping the young pieces in place. This was the big off-season deal. The Indians wound up with Stubbs, Trevor Bauer, Brian Shaw, and Matt Albers. Chu and Jason Donald wound up with the Reds. Didi Gregorius, who's a highly touted middle infielder from Cincinnati, went to Arizona along with Tony Sick. Boy, Brian Shaw very sharp against his former club. Strikes out a pair, and we'll go to the ninth. 5-4 Indians. Ninth inning here in Arizona, where the Indians lead the Diamondbacks 5-4. Arizona going back to their bullpen. Left-hander Joe Patterson follows left-hander Matt Reynolds. Got a little taste of big league ball last year. Patterson's got a different delivery. Matt Carson, Ezekiel Carrera, Chris McGinnis due up for the Tribe.
It's always nice to have not only power arms but different angles coming out of that bullpen that can help you out. For matchup guys, look at, yeah, he's coming from way over there. He's throwing it out of the second baseman's jersey.
You don't see as many left-handed sidearmers, and I suppose the reason for that is because just being left-handed is enough usually.
Well, specialists, you know, you'll see a lot. Mike Myers used to be one that has been around a long time. Randy Choate, who signed with St. Louis in the offseason, he's one. The guys that, you know, they don't have the power fastball. They got to give you deception, different arm angle, movement. It's slow. The slower the better half the time. You know, I think you see more of those guys around the left-handers than you do like a Nick Hagedorn that's trying to make this club. That's a power guy that throws 95.
There aren't many power lefties, and the ones that are out there are highly coveted. I mean, you got a power left-hander that can. Now, understand, you have to be able to, in the 7th, 8th inning role, you've got to be able to throw strikes and consistently throw strikes. And when Nick Hagedorn gets to that point, he's got a chance to be very special. Carson retired, out number 1. Fox Saturday Baseball returns with 3 great matchups as Angels outfielder Josh Hamilton returns to Texas to take on the Rangers. Or the Yankees battle the defending AL champion Tigers, where the Cardinals will take on the World Series champion Giants in a rematch of the NLCS. The debut of Fox Saturday Baseball is April 6th.
Which is right around the corner.
Sure is now. So that means Josh Hamilton, if I think about that, Josh Hamilton will be going back to both of his former clubs.
Texas and
Two
Cincinnati.
of the three, anyway. He was with Cincinnati, too, wasn't he? Isn't that
Yeah,
how
before
he,
that, that's how we got to Texas, right? Edison Volquez, if you remember. Who's now, I believe, in San Diego.
See, if they played Tampa on that same road trip, then it could be his reunion tour like LeBron and Chris Bosh and those guys just finished up with. Carrera hit by the pitch.
That was smart. Carrera just took it. That was he saw the breaking ball coming. He's trying to get him to bail out on that, and it didn't really hurt. So go ahead and take one for the team and get on first base. Watch the break. And he just doesn't really move a whole lot. He brings the arm in a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Oh, and on the ricochet, it nailed the catcher right in the leg. Nieves got it just above the shin protector. And Chris McGinnis, who struck out his first time up. Popped him up on the infield right in front of the plate. T in the first baseman has it, 2 down. Matt Antonelli will get his first plate appearance today. Matt Antonelli was last year claimed by the New York Yankees off waivers from the Baltimore Orioles. He's also been with the Washington Nationals, Padres, Forest University product takes a strike. Down and in, he missed with that pitch. 2 balls and a strike. One on, 2 out, top of the ninth. Indians lead by a run. It's a sky-high pop on the infield. Drury, the third baseman, makes the catch. And we'll go to the last of the ninth with the Indians in front 5-4. Bottom of the 9th inning, the Indians with a 5-4 lead. Matt Capps will come on now to try and close this out for the Indians. And it's an interesting situation, and that the Indians have already told Matt Capps that he will not make the club, but they like him enough that they would hope he would accept an assignment to AAA and continue to pitch and perhaps give them an option at some point this year. Capps and his agent haven't committed to that yet. They're continuing to look around to see if there are any other opportunities out there that would be big league jobs. But that can be tricky too, because at this point in the spring, most clubs kind of have their rosters set, or at least mostly formulated, unless somebody has an injury.
It's a really hard time right now, you know, because everybody's trying to get down to that 25 guys, and you know, they have to set their rosters. It's just a tough time. They have to wait a little while for things to shake out. Everybody's pretty much in the same boat. You know, they have excess of numbers that, you know, they bring extra guys in and have to look at, and it's tough. You know, like yesterday you said you saw the trade of John McDonald going from here to Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh, you know, they had some injuries. They could use a middle infielder, and McDonald wasn't going to stay here, so they did him a favor to get him over to Pittsburgh to help him out, where he can still play at the big league level, but that doesn't happen often.
Fair ball over the bag, down the line it goes, and the tying run is safe at second base on a close play.
This one was right over the bag. I mean, it looked like it ended in foul territory, but it went straight over the bag, and really Holt did a nice job to make it close at second base, because that ball deflected off the stands. He slides in, but well, boy, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Now the first at bat for Almodovar, who squares the bunt. He'll be looking to move that runner to third. He squares, he bunts. Capps off the mound, gets the out at first, one away. A.J. Pollock will pinch hit for the pitcher. And the Indians will bring the infield in with the tying run at third and one out of here in the bottom of the ninth. 5 runs, 11 hits for the Indians, 4 runs, 10 hits for Arizona. That's fouled off right at the Indians pitching coach, Mickey Callaway.
Well, you know, a lot of times you will see coaches and people sitting out on the field in spring training, but you better be ready and heads up, because they get on you in a hurry.
A.J. Pollock saw action in 31 games last year with Arizona. Pollock, like a lot of young players, struggled at first, but when he settled down, he swung the bat much better. He hit 138 in his first 12 games, 308 over his last 19. Back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A 25-year-old outfielder, still among the top prospects in the Arizona organization. Caps delivers. Checked his swing. Did he go? He did not, says Seth Buckminster at first base.
It was close, man. He thought about it. I'll tell you, this is awfully close. He did go.
Yeah, I think he did.
I'll tell you what, you look at that, the replay, they caught a break.
Right to the third baseman. They'll come home. They've got the runner and a rundown. Nieves trying to come home. He'll be tagged out by Caps. But alertly, the hitter ends up in the scoring position.
Well, that means the base runner did his job. Getting in that rundown, he was coming on contact. The ball was hit directly at Phelps at third base. So your job is to get yourself in a rundown so that guy from home plate can get himself in scoring position. And what he did, he should have ran at him, gave it up a little earlier, because Girolamo couldn't really run him all the way back, and it was 2 long throws. And anytime he's running back to home plate, the job is not well done. That enables the runner to get into scoring position. So they'll have one more opportunity, but they do get the big out. He's going to have to get a base hit here.
I think we got another pinch hitter here.
Is this Belza?
Swung on and missed. Back-to-back number 11s.
Well, there's a lot of number 11s in the minor league.
I guess so. Tom Belzo's a 43rd round pick in 2010. But for folks watching in the southern part of Ohio, perhaps they're familiar with Tom Belza, who played at Moeller High School in Cincinnati. Back in 07, he was the Cincinnati High School Player of the Year. Went to Oklahoma State University, and that's when Arizona took the flyer on him in the 43rd round. You know who signed him? Kyle Denny.
Did he really? Former pitcher with the Indians?
It's got to be the same Kyle Denny, right? Swing and a miss, and that'll do it. Matt Capps gets the strikeout to end the ball game, and the Indians beat the Diamondbacks by a final score today of 5-4. So a good outing for Matt Capps. He works around the leadoff double and gets the save here today. And overall, you really have to tip your cap to the Indians bullpen. Joe Smith, Cody Allen, Brian Shaw, and Capps all combined to go 4 shutout innings. And the Indians hang on for the 5-4 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Good start for Carlos Carrasco. He's still fighting for a spot in the starting rotation. He went 5 innings, did allow the 4 runs. But all in all, pretty good effort. And the Indians swung the bats well early on. Michael Brantley with a 3-run homer in the first inning. Omir Santos with a couple of big RBI hits as well. Brian Shaw came out of that Indians bullpen. Our first look at him in live action, and he was impressive.
Well, he was. He dotted the outside corner a couple times in his inning. Look at that. Once on a lefty, once on a righty. I mean, he shaves the corner. A couple of strikeouts looking right there, and did a nice job. And all the scoring was done in the first 4 innings. After that, there were goose eggs thrown up by both squads.
If the Indians win it by a final count of 5-4, our next telecast will be tomorrow night, 7 o'clock in the West, 10 o'clock Eastern time, when the Indians play host to the Arizona Diamondbacks in Goodyear. For Rick Manning, I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night when the Tribe takes on the Diamondbacks once again.